This Friday marks 1 year since Russia invaded Ukraine, and the possibility of being forced to fight and possibly die in battle has alarmed thousands of Russian civilians.
So much so that many are fleeing their homeland, trying to find refuge in other countries. CNN's Rafael Romo has their stories.
Anatolia Taktarov says he already knows where he wants to build his new life.
There is many Russians in the Los Angeles. My friends Pavel and Sergey, they want to go to the New York.
The migrant from Moscow is staying at a shelter in the Mexican city of Reynosa, across the border from McAllen, Texas, along with two other Russian friends. Getting to this side of the world, he says, was not easy.
From Moscow through Minsk, Belarus, then Istanbul.
After arriving in Istanbul, he says he traveled to Madrid before flying across the Atlantic to the Mexican beach resort of Cancun and then making the trip to Reynosa. His 26-year-old friend Sergei Zustarov, who's also from Moscow, is not shy about the reason why he left his native country.
I don't want to fight and kill people. I don't want to fight for terrorist Putin.
At the shelter, they were joined by Pavel Fedorov, who says he left his dentistry practice in Moscow as an act of defiance against his country's leader and a war that has become a threat for everybody.
For men, especially at 18 to 65, this уже soldier. No immigration, no pass, stay in Russia. Поэтому too much people in Georgia, Armenia, Mongolia.
During the first months of the war, Russian men fled in droves to neighboring countries like Georgia. But some Russians have decided safety can only be found on this side of the world. The migrants staying at the shelter in Reynosa are only 3 among tens of thousands who have made the long trip in the last year after the invasion started. Many have applied for asylum and say they hope to build a new life in the United States, far away from the war and Putin. According to U.S. Customs and Border Protection figures, the number of Russians who crossed the southern U.S. border last fiscal year, when the Ukraine invasion started, grew by more than 430% compared with the year before. Back at the shelter, Zustarov reflects on the hard decision he had to make.
Very difficult. I am 3 daughter, young wife, very hard.
He says he hopes both of them will be able to join him soon to build a new life together in New York. Rafael Romo, CNN, Atlanta.